Well, hello everyone, and today is going to be a little bit of a different video, and I'm going to be answering your questions. I was going to do this anyway, but I decided to make it into the 1K subscriber special, where I get to, answer all your guys' questions. So, let's get right into the questions. My first question is from Sonata Birdie, I guess, and their question is, how do you think the story would go if Ben could never turn human ever again? And I think that's actually an interesting thing to talk about. I mean, I see this as an actual possible, episode in the actual show. If they ever decide to bring, Ben 10 back, whether it be for, the reboot, in his teen years, or bringing back the original continuity, but with its own twist, whatever it might be. I can see this as an episode where, Ben just can't transform back into human. He can switch between aliens, but he just can't turn back, which I think could be interesting. But, if he, let's say, originally just couldn't turn back into human, that could probably bring in some really cool plot points, and could probably show the, how Ben really views these aliens themselves, in the series. Because to Ben, these, templates for him to inhabit, they are him. And in some cases, almost undistinguishable, feedback. He liked feedback so much that it was basically a part of him, whether that be, literal or not. And we could probably, explore that a lot more through this as he becomes so, I guess, literally attached to these aliens that he can't distinguish them between them and him. You know what I mean? Which is the transformation and which is just him, because he's just been them for so long. You know what I mean? Next is a question from Kia. What would happen if, the Omnitrix didn't activate in the forest? Which I don't really know what you mean by doesn't activate in the forest. It doesn't turn on and attach to Ben? Most likely what would happen is that either Ben would just take it and show Uncle Max, or he would go to Uncle Max and bring him there. I'm most likely thinking he'd probably just take it, let's be honest. He would just grab the thing and then go show Max, and then he would probably look at it and go, oh, yeah, no, this is alien, and would probably store it away somewhere. And then, they would have to run away from Vilgax, obviously. After that point, it's hard to tell exactly what would happen. Maybe someone eventually would turn it, attach it onto themselves, and then it would turn on it. It's hard to tell. So, a bunch of things could happen, so I can't really tell you exactly what would happen after that, though. There is also a possibility that if Ben just runs away from it to show, Max, Vilgax could also just get it as well, and then would just take over the entire Milky Way, just like he planned, pretty much. Which leads into your, second question, which is what would happen if Vilgax got the Omnitrix. Yeah, no, he would just take over the entire galaxy. That's pretty much it. That was his main purpose, is take the Omnitrix and take over the galaxy with a bunch of alien warriors essentially with it. That was his main purpose. And he almost got it in Ultimate Alien, but then Alien Force, but we know what happened. Next question is I don't know how to say your name, but what are my opinions on Ben recreating the universe? And I don't really have opinions about it. I don't really have much to say. It's cool that we get to see Ben's capabilities with Alien X, and that he can recreate the universe, but of course it's not perfect. He can't get everything down to the minute detail, because of course he's human. So he's not these godlike entities. Even though he has their power, he's not mentally at the same level, if you know what I mean. But going on to your second question, you want to know what a slime biot is, which, yeah, you got the name right, buddy. And the best way I could explain what a slime biot is, which, by the way, I'll show a picture of one in case you don't know what they look like. They are essentially the Mews of the Ben 10 universe, like Mew from Pokemon, I mean. they're essentially supposed to be there to, like, recreate, or not recreate, make, you know, all of these sapient and sentient species in the entire universe. So, that's their main purpose. They kind of just kind of thrown into the universe by the Contumalia, which, you know, we don't really exactly know what they look like, but they change what they look like depending on who's looking at them. But anyway, they have a bunch of other abilities, like, you know, replicating DNA, which I'll show examples right here. They're basically just small little boogers that were the main reason why most sentient and sapient life in Ben 10 universe were made. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Next question is, what are my opinions on Anodites that showed up in Ben 10 Alien Force? And I think they're cool, like, as a concept, or at least with Ben 10, at least. Like, them, like, being, like, a, sort of link for Gwen to, like, have her own little special thing is kind of cool for me to, or for us to think about, because not only does she have, like, magic, but she also has something special in her family or whatever that makes her different and differentiates her from Ben, other than just having magic, which, you know, Ben could technically learn, but he just doesn't because he has the Omnitrix. He doesn't need to. Although, I think initially they were just straight up used to just reboot or just retcon magic, but then they just brought it back. So, you know, it's not that big of a deal, I guess. Kind of. And your second question is, am I going to do a Pokemon Smash or Pass video, like, based off of regions? Yes. For me to keep my sanity, that is the only way I can actually do that, because I'm not going to sit there for several hours, on probably several days, making a video of me just smashing, or figuring out which Pokemon I would smash or pass, because I would quite literally go insane. So most likely, yeah, I would just do them by region, and that would make me, it'd make it easier for me in that I could update, like, make a sequel video or whatever when a new region comes out with a bunch of new Pokemon and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Also, side tangent, I personally think that Anodites should be plausible for the Omnitrix to just scan, because, for one, like, there are so many creatures in the Omnitrix that shouldn't be scannable, but they are. Like, we got Waybig, who is essentially made in cosmic storms, so they're not made out of the same stuff as humans and a lot of other species. You got Chronosapiens, which are basically just robots that control time. You got whatever Atomic species is, that essentially are robots that also control, like, nuclear energy. And then you also have Energy, which are pretty much the exact same thing, but they eat nuclear energy and spit it back out. And then there's a bunch of other examples that I can probably tell you, and they just make no sense. So there's no reason why we can't have Anodites, because we have literal living sound in a suit, that being literal echo. So yeah, it makes no sense to me, but whatever. The next question is, do I think the ending of, you know, Ben 10 versus Green Lantern ended right, like that death battle, which I did see it, so I don't know exactly what you mean. Like, do you mean the ending of the animation, like the fight animation, or do you think, like, do you mean, like, the actual fight itself? Like, do I think that they're wrong in what they said? And I'll go over the first one first, and then the second one. Now, if you're talking about the animation itself, I think the way they ended it in general, which, if you don't know, spoilers, but towards the end of the animation where Ben, like, is fighting Green Lantern, he decides to, like, go back into, you know, time travel back into the, you know, previously into the fight, which, by the way, Alien X can also time travel, so, you know, him not just going after him just makes no damn sense. But whatever. Him just, one, cutting off the Omnitrix off of his hand makes no sense, since we already seen that doesn't work, and since he is weaker than before, it's not gonna work, and he'd probably just get thrown back again if he tried to do that. And literally making a giant boot and squashing him like a bug just seems completely unnecessary. So that did actually just piss me off. So I hated that. I hated it so much. But if you're talking about like the winner of the fight, yeah, no, Ben was not winning against Hal Jordan. Like, we all know, if you've ever read at least one comic book, like at all, you should know how powerful these comic book characters like get. For me, when I first like was waiting for the fight to actually come out, I was just sitting there thinking like, man, there was only like one way Ben could win, and that is if they downplay Hal Jordan, and that's pretty much it. That's the only way they could have he could have won. But yeah, personally, if they do bring him back in the future, I do hope sincerely that they put him against someone else, like Geostellar, or that one kid from Yu-Gi-Oh! I forget what his name is. And maybe someone else. Some people can tell me in the comments. I don't know. I can't think of any other ones. But those two would be great death battle opponents for Ben. Next question is, well, you're basically asking me, would I be interested in a Lucky Girl or, like, Gwen spinoff? And my simple answer is, hell yes. Most definitely. I would love to see a spinoff with Gwen. And kind of bouncing off of the previous question with, like, Anodites and stuff, my main reasoning for saying yes, I guess, is because we can see more of the magic side of Ben 10, and we haven't really gotten too much of that, surprisingly enough. Like, we've only gotten this through, like, minor things like Michael Morningstar and Charmcaster, but we haven't gotten too much. Like, we haven't gone in-depth into Ledger Domain and, like, other things, like, for an example, we could get more, like, info about Adwecha, and, like, he could probably be a future villain. Maybe they could lean back into Charmcaster becoming a good guy again, because that was something that I kind of was mad with, because they were more leaning towards her becoming a good guy, and then they kind of just dropped it in Omniverse, which was just something that pissed me off beyond belief. But yeah, I would love to see a Lucky Girl spinoff. That could be interesting. My next question, and you have a lot, in the parallel universe where Gwen gets the Omnitrix, would Ben get the Anodite powers, or would Gwen have both powers? Like, would she have the Omnitrix and the Anodite powers? And in this specific scenario, I do think Ben would probably get the Anodite powers, because since Gwen has the Omnitrix, she wouldn't have any use for, like, magic and stuff, while Ben, well, doesn't have any powers at all. So most likely he would probably lean towards getting Anodite powers, which could be interesting, because Ben can be very creative when it comes to, like, his powers with the aliens, so that turning into magic abilities, he would probably be very OP, let's be honest. Your next question is specifically on the when Max becomes, or gets the Omnitrix, I guess. Would both Ben and Gwen get the Anodite powers, and if they do, would they become plumbers, or something like that? Me personally, there is a chance both of them could get the powers, but I'd probably lean towards Gwen only getting the powers, and then Ben becoming a plumber, even though technically both of them would become plumbers. Like, in the original series, they already become plumbers, you know, anyways, so they would probably still become plumbers regardless of if they actually get Anodite powers or not. But personally, I think Gwen would be the only one that gets Anodite powers, and then Ben would probably just become a normal plumber, or something along the lines of that. And yeah, Kevin would probably go through a similar, you know, arc that he did originally, although the way it probably would have went would be a tad bit different. I don't know exactly how much different, but it would definitely be different. His relationship with Ben would probably be a tad bit different, but pretty much exactly the same though. Your third question, what do I think, you know, they did with the ultimate concept in Ultimate Alien? Too little, enough, or too much? Definitely not too much. Probably somewhere in between, like, too little and enough, because there were some cases that they didn't really need to use the ultimate function and could have saved it for other episodes, or used other ultimate aliens for, like, either one-offs, which I would have been fine with, but would have been right for the situation. But, like, anyway, the only two examples that I'd probably say are like good examples of him just using ultimate feature properly would be when he fought Arthur, or I think his name is Arthur. I forget what his name is. I'll show a picture of him up top, and his name probably as well, because I don't remember his name while recording this. But the dude with Ascalon, basically, and he used ultimate Humongosaur against him. And the other instance where he was fighting Dagon, and he went or when he used ultimate way big, essentially. So yeah, no, I would also use an ultimate against a god. So yeah. Also, yeah, I would love to see an ultimate Blitzwolfer as well. He's one of my favorite. Well, actually, no, my favorite alien of the entire bunch. So I'd love to see him, which we already technically seen an ultimate, Blitzwolfer already with 5YL. They already made one. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you guys want me to actually talk about those ultimates, you can go ahead and tell me in the comments. How do I think this series would have changed if Ben got like an Osmosian DNA transformation, and would it be possible? Yes, technically. There's safeguards against it because basically all that Osmosians are just mutated humans. They're the same species, but like they're a tad bit different because they can absorb energy and stuff. They're kind of like mutants from X-Men, kind of. But like the Omnitrix has like safeguards against like mutant DNA, but if Ben was able to take that off, then he could transform into it. And personally, I don't think it'd probably change the classic series too much. It would just give him a new transformation that he can use, and that's pretty much it. Nothing else. Your fifth question: what powers do I think Ultimate Clockwork would have? Basically just improved time powers. He could probably time travel by himself now without getting upgraded, although getting upgraded by upgrade probably wouldn't do much for him now. I mean, maybe it would add extra stuff, like maybe he has better output with his time beams and stuff, but that's pretty much it. Like, by himself, he could probably be on par with Maltruant, if I'm going to be honest. Other than that, he can probably have the basic time powers like time stop, time skip, rewind, fast forward, you know, the normal stuff for time manipulators. But that's pretty much it. He would just have better stuff over his, better control over his time powers, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So, your next question, which Predator from the Omnitrix is my favorite? Personally, the big dinosaur one. I don't remember what its name is, but Humongosaur's Predator. That one's my favorite, because it's just big dinosaur, and I think it can also shoot out webs, which is interesting to me. I just think that's cool. Personally, I would have give it the ability to enlargen, because that would make sense if it's, you know, up against Humongosaur, but I guess they just didn't really want to do that for Ben or that Predator, I guess. But I would also love to see, specifically to your second part of your question, I would love to see a Predator specifically for Waybig. There's actually a video from a mutual of mine that talked about the Tick from the classic series. You know, the Tick from the episode where Cannonbolt first appears. That could possibly be the Predator, which is plausible, but just makes no sense to me, but whatever. Seeing the Predator of Waybig would actually be pretty interesting to me, and like, what would they be? But yeah. Going on to your second question, which of the Ben 10Ks would win in a fight? Classic, Ultimate Alien, and Omniverse, and which one is my favorite? Quickly going over my favorite out of the three. Personally, I like the OG better. The other ones have, like, cool, like, gimmicks, I guess. Well, one of them has a cool gimmick. The other one's pretty boring, if I'm gonna be honest. But, personally, I like him better because it's showing, like, what actual Ben would look like if he was older. And I don't think, like, Ben in his future would have any, like, new gimmick or something. He would just be Ben, but like older and more experienced with the Omnitrix, and that would be it. Like, nothing Nothing different would be about him other than, I guess, maybe his demeanor would be a tad bit different because he's more of an adult, I guess. But quickly going over who would win in a fight, let's not even talk about classic version because, like, no, he gets smoked by both of them very easily, if I'm going to be honest. So it's really between Omniverse Ben 10K and Ultimate Alien, and it's going to be Omniverse because he can combine literally any two of the multiple aliens that he has together. Like, he can combine, like, a good example, Swampfire and, like, I don't know, Wildvine, or a couple other ones, like Way Big and Humongosaur, or just, like, very weird combinations, but also very good combinations. Like, think about combining Blitzwolfer and, like, Echo together to make one really beastly, like, sonic howl at your opponents, but also being able to multiply. So, like, Blitzwolfer's howl is already better than, Echo's, but Echo can multiply, obviously. But, combining those two together into one big, upside, yeah, no, he would demolish Ultimate Ben. Like, he has ultimates, but that's, he could just make atomics plus NRG, and then, like, that's a wrap. Like, that's it. Like, he's done. Going on to your 8th question, you're specifically talking about the Carnatrix and how, like, how Alien X, or that version of Alien X, works. So, okay, the best way I could explain it is that, essentially, for one, he kind of just got rid of, like, Azimuth in this universe, which, by the way, isn't the same Azimuth we know. It's just another Galvin that has the same name. Don't know why they had to specify that, but sure. But anyway, he somehow, some way, got rid of Bellicus and Serena, specifically probably by combining DNA, like his own DNA, with the Celestial Sapien DNA, somehow. Don't know how he did that, but yeah. But the Azimuth in that universe, or that Galvin that's called Azimuth, he essentially just got rid of them somehow, probably due to the DNA thing, as I said before. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how. I don't know how he got it. The creator might have specified, like, how he got it, but he probably got it in a similar way to regular Azimuth. So yeah, if that's what you're asking, then there. But if you're specifically asking, how he was able to get rid of Bellicus and Serena, probably by combining his own DNA with it and just making him, like, one consciousness. So, yeah. Your 9th question, if OG Ben, like, got a team, like, a team together of, like, aliens or whatever, like, what would be, like, a cool, like, team, like the Andromeda team, the Inspector, or Prisoner, or whatever guy, the Chameleon's DNA donor, and there's 3 aliens that Albedo was friends with. Like, those 3. Personally, I would love to see the Andromeda 5 again, possibly with Chameleon, or we don't know what his name is. I'm gonna call him Dave. If Dave and the Andromeda 5 just kind of teamed up as, like, a plumber team, would be pretty cool. Like, Dave decides to, not be a murderer or whatever, and decides to be a plumber to, like, make up for what he was going to do against that one Colonel, or whatever his name was, and the Andromeda 5 just, being a part of it, because why not? Because they don't have they don't have any other choice now, do they? And finally, your last question, specifically about Ben 10K's Omnitrix, like, which ones would be cool to see, and which ones would be my favorite combinations, which I already technically talked about that. That being the combination, or possible combination, of Blitzwolfer and Echo. I would love to have seen a combination of those two, because it's just a perfect combination. I like both aliens, well, not equally, but I would love to have seen, like, a combination of both of them, like Blitzwolfer's way better howling, but also being able to multiply as well. Like, that would be insane. And that, and just having a bunch of Blitzwolfers just kind of just jump on a guy, would just like jump a dude like JJK or something, would just be funny to see. I would love to see that, just me personally. And yeah, that's all the questions you guys actually, thrown out there. This is actually pretty lengthy video, I'd have to say. I really appreciate all you guys, giving me questions to answer. If you guys want me to do one of these videos again or whatever, I'm probably going to regulate these question and answer videos mainly to, like, when we pass like a goal, like, which, by the way, the next goal, if you want another one of these videos, get me to 5,000 subscribers. If we pass 5,000 subscribers, I'll make another one of these videos ASAP. So if you want your question answered, go into the comments and ask me a question. By the time we reach 5,000 subscribers, I will maybe answer your question. But anyway, if you like this video, like it. If you want to see more videos like this, in your subscription box, subscribe. And thank you, guys, for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it, generally, from the bottom of my heart, really. And I hope I will see you in the next video.